Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear friends, our listeners around the globe, in Pakistan, South Asia, and especially Canadian diaspora living in United States of America. Um, this program is widely viewed around the globe, and we are very thankful to our listeners and for their comments and at the same time criticism. Welcome for your remarks. Uh, I will I will explain upfront that this program is so we talk on a very serious subject and we do a lot of research work and all the facts we present is based on real facts. So people um, they have a right to come to our show and send us your comments. And we invited a lot of people we talk about, and we invite them. They can come anytime. Invitation is open. So today's program is all about changing political scenario in Pakistan, and especially growing tension between one specific political party and Pakistani military. Uh, sound like the PDM losing uh, power on a national level, while the the, the PTI, a political leading political party, is showing its strength in a street power, and they are based on this power play. Now they started attacking on a public level Pakistani judiciary and especially the military. And the military showed a great patience, and on their end, recently ISPR responded aggressively and sound like uh, something will happen or maybe not. Or I will ask um, our guest, Professor Dr. Ghulam Mujtaba. He is very concerned and he has updated knowledge about what's going on in that situation. So, Dr. Saab, let's find out what is going on if someone claim that is a political very active and they have a street power and they expect that if uh, the election announced and they will sweep and the ballot box, they will take the ballot box out. Uh, at the same time, does this political party or its chairman leadership gives any right to attack uh, on Pakistan judicial system, attack on the existing government, and attack on Pakistani military, uh, who's in a forefront fighting uh, flood like a war with all its resources. At the same time, they're also uh, creating a, a group that's supporting Pakistan financially on international level. So what's going on? All this situation, these threats um, are really a concern at this point.
Farooq Mirza, first of all, thank you for bringing me in back again and creating an awareness amongst the population, Pakistani population, and the Pakistani diaspora abroad on the current stalemate that Pakistan is facing. This is vital for our understanding of the subject and coming to certain conclusions before the water gets above the neck and is unbearable and uncontrollable. Before going into the subject, I would like to express my opinion on certain historical facts. fighting against the establishment, against the very state of Pakistan, against the national security of Pakistan, and challenging the national security institutions, which means the Pakistan's armed forces, which means Pakistan's judiciary, is something that is not acceptable by any society in the world. And let it be a democracy, a democratic state which claims to be Pakistan, these things should not happen by the political pundits of Pakistan. Now, if we look back to history in 1968, the state of Pakistan brought a case against Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and 34 other leaders, which included three of the civil servants and few others in the military of the Pakistan military at that time. And there were a large number of politicians of the Awami League. It was the time of Ayub Khan when sedition charges were invoked on them. And in 2011, though it was disputed at that time, and there were a lot of opinions that came up against Agartala Sazish of 1968, which is one of the most popular cases, sedition charges in the history of Pakistan. Now, these charges were challenged and they claimed that this is not true. But in 2011, one of the members of the parliament of Bangladesh, Shaukat Ali, who was accused in the case of the 35 people, he confessed before the parliament that this case was true and was based on honesty. It was Shamsul Alam, Pakistan's ISI lieutenant colonel in 1968, who basically bugged the entire thing and got a national award on that. Now, what is happening today? There are similarities between Agartala Sazish and the surrender of occupied Kashmir in 2019. And we have to know the chronology of the events that happened in Pakistan. And your audience have to understand point wise as to what happened in Pakistan. If we look to the historical facts, in 2015 and somewhere between 2011 to 2015, Imran Khan appeared on the Indian TV channels. He appeared in the London court through a statement supporting Balochistan freedom movement. And he said in his writing before the court in England that he supports these freedom movements, and had he been one of the Baloch leaders, he would have taken arms against the armed forces of Pakistan. This was his statement published in the newspapers in Britain. Now, his statements, let us come to the chronology first, and then we'll open the discussion. The statements of Imran Khan before Indian TV was targeted against Pakistan's armed forces, against Pakistan's army. He specifically was quoted as saying, which is available on the YouTube, that Pakistan army is responsible for gross human rights violations, and that was something very serious allegation against Pakistan's army. Now, in London, in his speech, before the Pakistani audience and Pakistani diaspora, he again repeated the same thing and he kept on repeating these things. And before a BBC correspondent, who is one of my friends, Mr. Shafi Naqi Jami, who was the director of BBC at that time, he took an interview, and which is available on the YouTube, where he said that army is only involved in corruption, in making money. It is a minting money factory of Pakistan. This was Imran Khan. Now, one thing,
Dr. Saab, let's come back to my question.
coming to that question, and in order to come to that question, I have to bring something, a complete case on him.
Okay.
In 2019, in April, it is well documented in the newspapers. Go to the Google search, your audience can do that. He prayed for the success of Modi's victory in 2019, April, his statement came, and that was his official statement. At that time, he was the Prime Minister of Pakistan. In 2019, after April, in August, 370 of the article of Indian Constitution was abrogated and occupied Kashmir was merged into India. Now, In 2019, in November, we are coming in sequence. In April, he prayed for Modi's victory. In August, the Article 370 was abrogated. In November, on 9th November, he inaugurated Kartarpur corridor. And that served the interest of the Indian population, not Pakistani population. We are not against religious performance or obligations, religious obligations to
Doctor Sahab, he's
places
yeah,
of places of holy interest. There is nothing wrong with that. But with the same token, as a leader of Pakistan, did he ask that the Pakistani pilgrimage who want to go to India, to the Sufi sites in India, were they allowed a visa free, same privilege as the Indians were allowed visa free to Kartarpur? What was the reason that the interest of the Muslims of Pakistan were denied and the interest of the Indian population was accepted by the Pakistan government? What was their interest? And not only that, I'm charging one severe question.
Doctor Sahab, that was a strategic decision as well. We will talk on.
We know the hoodwinking on a strategic strategy. There is no hoodwinking on the subject.
Yeah,
We do not know that those coming for pilgrimage without visa are the moles of Indian intelligence agencies and working against the
yeah.
interest of Pakistan. There was no.
I got your point, Doctor Sahab.
No, 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 no. There's one more point on Kartarpur. Kartarpur was made by the Corps of Engineers of the Pakistan Army. They made it. Overnight it was made. No other project in Pakistan was made during Imran Khan's tenure except Kartarpur. Why was that? Was the interest of Imran Khan in Kartarpur specifically, and did it serve Pakistan's geopolitical interest in the region? And if it was so, then this is 2022. In 3 years, what geopolitical interest and strategic interest has been served? That's a severe charge.
We
Now,
will.
now we are coming to a next question. Next thing. No, I'm going into the chronology. The next thing. In 2020, in June, United Nations Security Council non-permanent members were elected. India was proposed to the United Nations Security Council, and Pakistan voted or did not oppose Indian election, which they won it by 184 votes unopposed. Why did Pakistan's ambassador, why did Pakistan's presence in the United Nations give this result? Why India was not opposed by Pakistan? India got elected unopposed in 2020 to the membership of United Nations Security Council. No, 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 no. There's one more thing. Now, after that, the whole event has some relevance. Each and every event has relevance. Pakistan lost Kashmir. Why was that? Why no voice was heard? Why no bullet was fired? I don't mean there has to be a war, but there has to be a threat of Pakistan. Where was Pakistan's threat? At the international forums, in diplomacy, in the war zone. What happened? Who did all that? Let me tell you one thing. We know as Pakistani Americans sitting in America that yes, there was an underhand deal.
Come back to the topic now, Doctor Sahab. I got your point. Let me. The only thing Imran Khan right now, he is demanding immediate announcement of the election. There is nothing wrong about it, and he to prove that he's a popular, and he pulled a potential crowd. And what is wrong if the uh, the present government announce the election date? Do you think they are afraid that if they will go to the election and they will lose ballot?
Mr.
Are
Farooq
they
Mirza,
afraid of him?
Mr. Farooq Mirza, as a student of medicine and discussing the hospital environment when one of your kids came across an accident, lost a limb, and you are asked to talk of elections, would you do that? You would attend your daughter first. The surgeon will have to go to the surgical operation theater and provide relief to a person who is severely injured. Today, Pakistan is severely injured in floods. The American delegation is going to Pakistan to help Pakistan. The United States is sending money to Pakistan to help Pakistan. UK is sending money to Pakistan for humanitarian relief. Germany is sending money. Japan is sending money. Australia is sending money. Spain is sending money. Everyone is standing behind Pakistan in these humanitarian work. And at this point, when there is flood, 17% of Pakistan's population is in flood. They are homeless. They don't have place to live. They don't have a roof to live. And they are getting no help of any interest to them. Now, at this point, he is running a campaign for elections. He is going
Dr.
for
Hamza,
he is going for public meetings and asking people to do that. Is he
we,
crazy? Is he in his right state of mind to do that? Is he thinking of those people in the flood victims? Does he think in on terms of humanitarian acts? Is he involved with Shaukat Khana when he
Dr.
visits
Saab,
this?
the flood flood just came. Like I said, it's a couple of week. We saw this disaster, and uh, you know what I'm trying to ask you. The continuously one specific party, there the only one demand is an election. So we understand the next October 2023, there is no possibility of any election in Pakistan because almost 60 to 70% the population is affected uh, during this flood. Still, they are underwater. So it is not possible, but they can announce the election date to cool down. And secondly, uh, if someone is popular or someone is has an ability to pull the crowd, so does it mean that he has a right to attack on judiciary, or he has a right to attack on Pakistani military based on his popularity or his obsession to be a popular?
When you talk of popularity, may I ask you what are the scales of popularity? How many votes did he get in the elections? What was the percentile of electoral votes casted in favor of him? Out of the Pakistan's population, there are no elections in Pakistan which are held where more than 30% people cast their votes. Now, of the 30% of the votes being casted in favor of in favor of any election, the winner is hardly getting a 12% vote. Does 12% represent popularity of Pakistan? No. If it is a democracy in Europe, if it is a democracy which is an established democracy, then there has to be a rerun on the elections if there are 12% votes. What happened in Karachi? The PTI candidate won elections by 20,000 votes, and the constituency is like 300,000. So where are those 300,000 people? Did they support any candidate? No. If they did not support any candidate, how can a person getting 20,000 votes would win the elections in a constituency of 500,000 people? Voters, registered voters. That means the percentile of people taking interest in Pakistani electoral process is not significant. There has to be a rerun in the elections. When you talk of his popularity, that don't mean what you're talking about popularity based on the electoral votes. Even in democracy, he don't hold a majority in the parliament. Who is he to question the government? He can go to the parliament and let the parliament decide these things. Why is he not using the parliament? Why is he using
So
public?
my question is that uh, if a political uh, a power or a street power somebody display its worth like Imran Khan is doing, what's about down the road Nawaz Sharif is coming and he will pull a bigger crowd, and in past he did it, even his
No,
daughter, and she pulled them.
what you mean by all of that?
What I'm trying to say that does he like he claim to be so powerful or arrogant that he can say anything, like he's now threatening to shut down Islamabad. He's threatening to occupy. He's threatening now. One more thing, please respond collectively. Uh, do you think someone in military establishment, A team or B team, is instigating him or giving him any uh, green light to go ahead so that with his changing arrogant attitude and some elements they will within the establishment, they will be standing by him. And or I will ask you very straight this question: do you think he's doing so that any coup within the military is possible? Because the establishment, the military, and the departments, they are uh, very quiet. They are not responding. They are supposed to be.
Your question is valid, and it is the question which most people have in their minds, and they want an answer to this question. That includes a lot of people in front of you sitting before the camera and listening to this conversation. One, yesterday in Faisalabad, or day before yesterday, in Faisalabad meeting, you have seen viral videos where Pakistani flags were taken
Was
off
taken out the Pakistani flag.
and Indian flags were put. What morality exists on 6th of September when there is Pakistan Defense Day and you are taking out Pakistan flags, the pride of Pakistan, and bringing the pride of PTI over pride of Pakistan? Is that a national security question? Yes. Is this a national security priority? Yes. Is this something that concerns the people of Pakistan? Yes. Is this something that concerns the patriots of Pakistan? Yes. Now, the second thing is, we have seen him challenging the writ of the state. We have seen him challenging, burning, breaking up the PTV by Arif Alvi. We have witnesses, we have YouTube clips there. We have YouTube clips where in the past and even today, they are damaging the national security interest of Pakistan in all corners of the society. Let it be judiciary or the military. He's challenging the military. Sometimes he's calling them neutrals, teasing them with the word neutral, and asking them if the neutrals are real neutrals or they are party in this partisan politics. Then he's talking of Mr. X and Mr. Y, which clearly means that he's talking Mr. X is General Bajwa and Mr. Y means Nadeem Anjum, the DGISI. And he is clearly talking of Mr. X and Mr. Y in his public meetings. We understand these things. We understand these slurs. We understand, and people understand these slurs. Now, these slurs are targeting the solidarity, the national integrity, and challenges faced by Pakistan's defense forces. This is not acceptable in any society, let alone be Pakistan. Now, coming to your question again, how dare is he challenging the judiciary? And how dare minallah means by God, minallah from God, wallah by God. Why is minallah skeptical in talking against him and asking he didn't mean this thing? Did he mean something else? Is it a judiciary or is it something of fun? Can this happen in the United States, in the US judiciary? No, one, two, three. It's a contempt of court.
Doctor Saab, these I will not. I will be very straight and very blunt on that. So this kind of attitude of the Chief Justice High Court is criticized uh, widely worldwide. So majority, when the majority thinks in a different way, it means something.
Not only
So,
that,
so
let me tell you,
this is one thing. This is one thing that he's.
Pakistan's judicial rating globally, which is an accepted standard, is fourth lowest in the world. Pakistan's judiciary should know as to what they are doing wrong, why they have been placed at the fourth lowest, and there should be corrective measures by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Pakistan, who is leading the Pakistan judiciary, as to why this.
This specific court, this
For
specific
us, it's a matter of shame for us, the Pakistani diaspora.
Dr. Saab, this specific court doesn't believe on defamation, and they don't believe, they bluntly said. So, based on their previous uh, association, and something is going on. So the PTI has a privilege. and they proudly in their statements they claim to get a justice from this specific court, and they are getting there are a lot of relief. They enjoyed a lot of relief. So anyhow, let's come back to the environment. What is prevailing? It's look like a genie is out from the bottle. So now he's out of control. Uh, mm, what I will most of the people I spoke to, they said what the kind of culture, the kind of attitude he is presenting is not damaging the other party, but damaging its own party. He's losing his grip on the people they think seriously, or the people they have a mind. Like you see, the president of Pakistan, he did not support him. He said he should himself explain his point of view. I think this is very dangerous. Or do you think what's going on, a psychological point of view, uh, he do not have any person around him or somebody with the political sense or politically trained on his right or left side or back side to advise him or give him a little point or to calm him down. This is one reason. Or second reason, do you think the anger what he is displaying is an outcome of an arrest of his lieutenant Shabazz Gill?
The thing is, let me be very clear. Someone called me from Washington this morning, and they asked me to give them a rundown as to what is happening. Let me quote that. The change of the leadership of the army will supposed to take place on the 28th of November
Doctor,
2000.
sir, Doctor, sir, answer my question first. This is a different speed. We will come back to that. I will ask you question about this one.
No,
But
I'm answering your question. I'm
okay,
I'm answering your question. So the change of hands in the army is going to take place, if at all, it has to take place before November 28th, 2022. Today is 7th or 8th of September in Pakistan, 7th in the US. Traditionally, Pakistan Army gives farewell parties, different units go for farewell parties to the outgoing army chief 2 months prior to the date of their departure from the army on LPR, which is the 28th of September. And in order to go for those farewell parties, 10 days ahead of time, the units are informed that the chief will come there for party to join them, the unit, which means 18th of September, the letters must have been issued or must be issued to different units in the army. Today is the 8th of September. No such letters are issued as of now. And we are not involving or intruding into the army affairs. That's exclusive right of the army and the defense forces. But having an interest into Pakistan's political business, having an interest with Imran Khan's activities, and in order to understand his activities, he is desperate to have a leader in the Pakistan army who is favorable to him. He has specifically pointed out
so you
that
want to say the Bajwa
those,
will
those,
stay?
those who do not support him are the Ghaddars, means the traitors. He has used this word, it is on record. That means he has said that those, if any one of the people in the leadership come in who do not support him, they are the traitors of the nation. In other words, he has said that Mr. X is a traitor. In other words, he said if Mr. X decides to bring someone, he is a traitor. Now he has only 15 days when the new army chief has to be named, or General Bajwa has to be given an extension in his services.
That's their
No,
uh,
no, there's a point there. There's a point. I did not finish up the point. Now he has a mental tension over him that these are the 15 days. If I have to come to power, I have to bring a man of my choice. And I don't have the authority to bring man of my choice. All right. This time he is losing his temperament. He is getting restless, and he knows that the man whosoever comes in will not be his choice. And we have reasons to believe that he had certain people in his mind who were his choice, and they are maybe not possible for them to be the seniors to come up in the list. And I think he must be very clear that General Bajwa is the right choice to continue as an army chief for the next 2 years. Pakistan needs him, and we want his extension for 2 years. That is in the interest of Pakistan's national security. And I believe that the institutions of Pakistan, that the leadership of Pakistan will follow that roadmap and get.
Dr. Saab, this is their mindset and the way they think about military, Pakistan military. Um I I'm a witness. The ISPR uh, was asked many questions many times.
Let me interrupt you. Is this clear before your audience? Why is he getting desperate when there is flood in Pakistan? He is still holding public meetings, and the reason why he is creating such a chaos. Had there been no flood, what he was trying to do, I must tell your audience, he was trying to warm up Pakistan to revolt against the government, sitting government, bring people in masses on the streets of Pakistan, Pakistan, collapse and write letters to the IMF not to give funds to Pakistan
Dr.
so
Saab,
that
as
no,
I
no,
yeah,
and he created an atmosphere, even in connivance with the people of Taliban and Taliban, the TTP, to create chaos in Pakistan, and that would have resulted in a civil war in Pakistan. And at that time, there would have been an outcry to remove Bajwa from the position and take army's new leadership to control Pakistan. His ball game was very big, targeted bigger than Agartala Sazish, and that's why I said that this was a case bigger than the sedition charges on Agartala. That's my charge,
Dr. Saab,
my allegation.
Dr. Saab,
And
ISPR
we can
repeatedly,
counter all the allegations, but
Dr.
facts exist.
Dr. Saab, ISPR repeatedly responded to many questions that Mr. Bajwa will retire in this November. There is no doubt about that.
I don't think so. I don't agree with
Okay,
that.
but
Record,
they,
record,
but they, but they,
myself,
but they announced
myself.
what as I believe that the Pakistan Army is a
I,
very
I respect your views, but I want to record this in your program that General Bajwa has to get a 2 years extension. Thank you.
okay. But if this is the case, then there would be another issue of the merit and beyond the discipline within the institution. But this is their mind, the way they think about establishment. I believe within a days they will announce a new army chief, and here is a problem. Whatever the protocol they will follow, but the way they are trying to divide military leadership and trying to create a confusion within the institution, publicly attacking and publicly giving nasty remarks, and I think this is not only is against the army institution, but also against their own political party, the serious people, the opinion maker and the thinker, and they are deadly against this one. So how you define this one in this situation?
See, the point is what we see here is the law is not taking its course. Law is not responding to the violations that you have mentioned. Let me add a severe violation on all of these charges is the foreign funding and the cases of funding to him and the bank records that belong to him. This is again a serious allegation. There was outside interference in bringing him to power by interest groups overseas, and that was against Pakistani law to accept such funding. and he accepted the funding. And the case was subverted for
Doctor
years.
Sahab, there is no doubt about that.
Yes. The
He
question is,
already
the
crossed, he
question
already
is,
crossed line.
I'm answering your question. The
Yeah.
question is, where is the state of Pakistan? Why the state of Pakistan did not prosecute him? Is popularity more important for Pakistani society, Pakistani democracy, or does law overtakes those popularities? In the United States, we have seen cases where Clinton was prosecuted. He was a popular leader, where Arnold Schwarzenegger was one of the most popular governors of California, the biggest state of the United States. He was prosecuted, where General Petraeus, who was the CIA director, one of the very important persons in the defense of the United States, he was prosecuted. There are a number of cases in modern history where you can see the prosecutions based on
Doctor Sahab, why should they get their hand dirty?
why law is not taking a precedence.
Doctor Sahab, why should they get their hand dirty when the man very obsessed, he is ruining himself. He already crossed lines, committed crime,
There is law.
and
There is law. You are saying that
at
someone is committing
at the same
crime.
time, he is ruining himself. Then they want to see him how far he can go. Now they can see in him and in the stuck in the dead end.
That's
He don't
that
have any. He don't have any. He is only obsessed with his popularity and his crowd.
he
Uh,
can be obsessed on anything. He can think anything about himself. He can think Japan and Germany are neighbors. He can think that Jesus Christ is not in history. He can think that
but doctor, there must be some way to control these ideas, to control this mindset, or this control this
that is
attitude
called
that this is not acceptable. This is not favorable to masses, to the youth and the people. Now they are coming to that stage and they are damaging uh, Pakistan flag in a PTI political gathering, replacing this flag with the PTI flag. So that kind of hatred and nonsense, this is very dangerous for the youth. I think someone should stop and someone should take action. Doesn't matter how the Supreme Court, if the High Court is so favorable and a High Court doesn't care, that they want to uh, give him a relief by all means, and they don't care and they don't believe on a defamation. I think the other courts, the superior courts, they should get in to save their prestige and their credibility. Otherwise, there won't be any rule of law. You come and you have a money and you have a power and you show little strength and you are good to go. You can do anything.
Farooq Mirza Saab, you are exactly on point, on spot. The thing is, it is very clear before Pakistani public that these people get away with law, and a poor man is reprimanded. Why is that? Why there are two tiers of law in Pakistan? Why these people do not get reprimanded on violations? Why things do not take its own course? The reason is what people think today is there is some power who are supporting him, and they think that there is some divide within the Pakistani national institutions. There are people who support him, and there are people who want to protect him. And if that is the case, then this is a very serious thought
Dr.
process.
Saab, this is the only responsible. The entity is a present government and in their alliance, a PDM. If someone goes against judicial system, judiciary, individuals, leadership, and military leadership, so this is the duty of the present government to take action. And if they are not taking action, so does it mean they are uh, like they are watching as a spectator and they want this nonsense happen so that they can score their previous medals? Do you think this is the case? There is
What
no reason this government, they should take action, some kind of action.
You are right. It is the responsibility of the government in power to take action, and they look very redundant as no action is being taken as of now. what we have seen here also, there are other people responsible for this. And the two other people besides the government responsible in producing a redundant actions without taking any action on the turmoil that's happening in Pakistan. One, the retired officers of the army, including Ali Quli Khan and others, who took out in favor of Imran Khan and violating the discipline of the army. They should not have come to the press and expressed something. Even they liked Imran Khan, and they have their personal interest and clash of their interest before the current government. That was absolutely rubbish. And that divided the army, the morale of the army within the serving and active duty personnel, and this was not acceptable. They are responsible for this act. One of them, the general, said before the press that America was involved in conspiracy against Imran Khan. Can I ask them that come to the United States and let me put a case against you in the US as to how can you prove that US was involved? You cannot skip that. You cannot escape it. You cannot face law. That is all rubbish. And they did that with the knowing facts, knowing everything, and that they destroyed the army discipline. They divided the army. Now the second people who were involved were the judiciary, who had to take action. The judiciary is playing bias game in Pakistan. That's why they are rated amongst the fourth lowest in the world. They should come up with the answers. Where is foreign funding case? Where is contempt of court case? If it is in the US, it will be one, two, three. That yes, he said against the judge, and that's it. Know what your intentions were. You are not there to ask the guilty to define his intention, and you will make a judgment based what he says on intentions. No, what is prima facie, what people have heard from him,
Dr.
what.
Saab, I have another very important question based on the condition right now, what's going on. I believe the Imran Khan uh, still a very popular leader, and he gave a World Cup, and he is very obsessed what he is right now. So what happened? If I will take you to the little past. So during his political gathering, his workers they used to attack on media houses, and he didn't do anything. He didn't stop them. Then you saw during the long-term dharna, the conspiracy theory came out. Then he was pulled out from the army chief from the gathering, and what they talk to him definitely give him a kind of assurance that you are the next. Okay. Then they ask a question that how you will come into power, you don't have any electable. So you saw that all the bad apples they throw on his plate. He Then he became our prime minister for 4 years. So do you think he was picked to bring him to that point that the man has no respect? He don't respect judiciary. He don't respect the system, the public. He don't care how many people they are. Uh, they, they lost their life. Even he don't. He never said like a prayer to any dead people in his life. And now he is standing on a dead end. Do you think that was the plan uh, to bring him on that point where he is alone standing?
He is a man who is alleged to have been working against Pakistan's interest, whether it be national security interest, whether it be moral values of Pakistani society, whether it be moral fabric of the society, whether it be the law or the invoking of law judicial system in Pakistan.
I can believe that he can do it.
Yes,
I think he's a loyal to Pakistan. He's a
I ask you, may
but
I
the
ask,
people around him. You can say that the people around him.
no, may I ask you two things on a counter question to you. Tell me an event where he has spoken a truth. One single evidence where he speaks truth. I'm not talking about trees give oxygen at night time. I'm not talking about Japan and Germany as borders. I'm not talking about there were 140,000 prophets that came in. I'm not talking about anything of that nonsense. Tell me one truth that he has said so far in 4 years of his government.
Doctor Sir, before you ask me this question, you should know that he is not a politician.
It's not a politician. Is he
Listen, listen,
truthful?
listen, Doctor Sir.
Is he,
Doctor Sir, Doctor
is
Sir,
he
listen to me.
truthful to his nation? Is he
Doctor Sir,
truthful in saying that he's going
Doctor
to
Sir,
provide?
please. Doctor
No,
Sir, please,
no.
please, let me answer to you. Before you ask me question, you should know that he is not a politician. He is a playboy cricketer. He is a entertainer, and he don't have any political wisdom vision, and he is simply he is a cricketer. You know how these sportsmen cricketers do that. You know how many stories, how many the way uh, they function on an international level. So all of a sudden he came into politics. He don't have any political training and wisdom, and he's just trying to rule on us. So don't expect anything. That will happen when you ask a carpenter uh, uh, to run a medical lab. So what do you expect from him? So the problem is that unfortunately he don't have any person around him who has a political will, or who is trained enough to advise him to stop him. He's just an arrogant man, an obstinate child. He don't listen to anybody. He came changes his stance and statements every day, and he's proud of. He bluntly said that the politicians, they always do that. There's nothing wrong about that. So now my question is that how you want to deal with him. So the judiciary is not taking action. The establishment is very quiet, and the government is not doing anything. So what do you want to do that? So so it means that just keep quiet and just watch what's going on in Pakistan.
Let me tell you one thing, and I'll explain to you, but listen to this with patience. Sir Winston Churchill was the Prime Minister of Great Britain. He went one of the mental houses where mentally sick people were there, and he said to one of the men standing there, "Look, my name is Sir Winston Churchill. I'm the Prime Minister of Great Britain." The man responded, "Anyone who comes here calls himself as the Prime Minister. So we are all Prime Ministers here." This is what he thinks. He has made a mockery of law. He has made mockery of institution. He has made mockery of each and every avenue of our society. He has made mockery of religion itself, where he starts his speech and says, "Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in," and then starts the drum beats, dance in his public meetings. This is what he's doing. He's making like entire fun and coming in the jalsa upside down in shalwar. What is this? Is he in his mental health, good mental health? No, he is not. I demand, with full responsibility, drug test on him. You will find positive test. And today is 7th of September.
Now, sir, what's about
Six
what's
months,
what?
6 months blood results will give him the drug test. If he
Doctor Saab, it's okay. It's I think
this
uh,
allegation, the allegation came on Belgium's prime minister just
yes.
last week, and Belgium's prime minister did check her blood test when the allegations were made. It is not something unserious. This
Doctor Saab, Doctor Saab, listen.
and
What's
and
what's about
he
what's
is
what's about the other politicians they are ruling over Pakistan right now? Do you think they are in their good state of mind?
I'm
They
not
are as bad. They are as bad as he is.
I'm not talking about other politicians if they have Tyrian Jade or Sita White. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking of this particular man, what he's doing with Pakistan. And I said to you about Winston Churchill, everyone who is there is like a madman. This is something that needs corrective measures. Now, your question, second part of your question was, what is solution to this? Is this going to keep on going move like this and we'll keep on talking on things like this? No, it is not going to go that way. It will not go unattended by the national institutions of Pakistan. No, General Bajwa is not going to leave this alone. He is the man, the Sipasalar of Pakistan. He will defend Pakistan on all avenues. Let me make it very clear. And if anyone thinks that if government sustains like this, no, it will not sustain. There will be an interim government in Pakistan. There will be an extension to General Bajwa, and there will be a change in Pakistan, and there will be rescue efforts to Pakistan. Pakistan will be saved. Our forefathers have given their blood for Pakistan, not for Imran Khan or these people to damage Pakistan. We are there as a small,
Dr. Sahab, Dr. Sahab,
as
Dr. Sahab, let's
strong-sided
talk about
save
Dr.
Pakistan,
Sahab,
and we as Pakistani Americans will save Pakistan.
Dr. Sahab, let's talk about the solution. We have a few minutes. You know, the Bajwa is not like a judiciary. Bajwa is not a detective that he will go after him. They are doing their job, and their strategy and their services to the nation is worldly recognized. There is no doubt about that. The only mess is in a political mess. I think the only solution what I present right now, uh, there should be a national conference and all the stakeholder, political and the election commission, they should come out and sign on some understanding that they will not cross line, they will not malign judiciary and military leadership, and they will not divide, and there should be a penalty out of that. And even the Imran Khan should sign on that. So this is the only way uh, to strengthen democracy and the political system in Pakistan. If they will not do this time, and they won't have any time, because the world now is trusting Pakistan, and all these economical and financial institutions, they are standing by Pakistan, and I think they should restore trust as well. They should show wisdom, political wisdom, and then based on these political wisdom and trust, the economy will grow and Pakistan will get better. So, Dr. Saab, thank you very much for your time, and folks, dear audience. As I said, this program is the only program in a Pakistani American diaspora, especially designed, and we are a voice of diaspora. So you are all welcome. You can call us. You can send your views, even a live views, and we will welcome. And uh, I believe the Pakistan will get better, and especially the Pakistani American relationship will also be on a different level. We are grateful to United States of America, and the recently the congressmen, they visited and they gave up a decent amount uh, to the flood affectees. So we also, from our platform, we will thankful to the rest of the nations, and they came forward and they helped Pakistan in this crisis. So we will come back for another topic a couple of days. Dr. Saab, Dr. Ghulam Mujtaba Saab, thank you very much for your time. Pakistan Zindabad.